The Sports Source is brought to you by Fast Frame, with exciting Vol sports prints now available.
This is The Sports Source, presented by Bill Hotz and Associates, and by Renewal by Andersen, with your host, John Pennington.
Good Sunday morning and welcome into The Sports Source, presented today by Renewal by Andersen. We're happy to have you with us. Tennessee holding its first big scrimmage of fall camp today. We're going to catch you up on everything that's been going on up until now with the fall camp stuff. That includes the quarterback race, and that's where we'll begin today, but we have a lot of stuff to cover. First segment, as I mentioned, brought to you by Renewal by Andersen. And right now through August 31st, now you have to schedule this by the end of the month, so you got to get on it. You can buy one window, get another one at 30% off. Get one window, get another one at 30% off, and that comes with a free upgrade to their Smart Sun glass. That's with no money down or interest for 12 months. There is always a great deal at Renewal by Andersen. You see, visit rbaknoxville.com. You can call them. They even have a showroom here in Knoxville that you can come up and see, and you will be impressed when you go in there. Best windows and doors you can buy. Renewal by Andersen. All right. Want to welcome in today's cast of characters we have right here. Bob Hodge, fresh off a Vikings win last night. Ryan Callahan right there. Jimmy Himes. And right down there, Chuck Cavaleris. Thanks to all of you for being with me today. Let's start up. For all the talk of it's going to be neck-and-neck battle in the fall, it's going to go right down to that first game. Keller Chryst arrived on campus. Guys took a look at Guarantano's. Got a little bit more zip on his pass. Chryst does not. Okay, it's Guarantano that's clearly in the lead. It seems to have gone all the way in about a week and a half from it's going to be a great race to, oh yeah, it's going to be Guarantano. Is it too soon to nail this one shut?
I think it is. Well, I think Guarantano has a clear lead. What if in the scrimmage today, if those 5 interceptions? Look, I don't think that's going to happen, but I think until you get some scrimmages under your belt, until you practice a little bit more, you can't make that call. But do I think Guarantano is the clear leader, and do I expect him to start against West Virginia? I do, but I do think it's too early to call because they haven't had enough scrimmages yet to define that.
I'm with Jimmy. I think it's too soon. I think you got to see, at least how he plays in the first scrimmage, maybe 2 scrimmages to really see how he's doing. But this has always been about Guarantano to me. I think this, even Keller Chryst has gotten a lot of the attention as the grad transfer guy people thought was coming in to start. But to me, if Guarantano lived up to his potential and took a big step from last year, it was going to be hard for the staff not to start him. I think that's kind of where we are. He's the favorite until further notice. But again, there may be 2 battles here. It may be starting the season opener and then how he responds once you get into 11-on-11 play in games. When the bullets start flying, they still may change quarterbacks if someone struggles.
Yeah, he should be ahead, shouldn't he? I mean, considering the time here and, familiarity, if nothing else, with other players on the team and what's going on. So I would expect it to be that way. I think it's best. I think it's a healthier situation for it to be like this.
Should be, but I don't think anyone anticipated it being as wide a gap as it's been off. It looks now like Keller Chryst was signed as a bit of motivation for Guarantano rather than, well, there were a lot of people, I think, that falsely, and we've talked about it on the show, got under the impression that, you saw it on the message boards and on Twitter, well, he wouldn't be coming here unless he knew he was going to start.
That's Malik Zaire who went to Florida.
Yeah, that's crazy. Right. There were a lot of people who thought, well, we got this guy coming in, and as we pointed out on the show, this guy didn't win the job at Stanford. So let's keep in mind, let's tap the brakes on the anticipation. I'm not saying he can't be the best quarterback over there, but right now he's clearly further behind than I think most people anticipated at the start of fall camp.
And I think it now raises an interesting dynamic as far as what kind of a coach that Pruitt is going to be. Because let's say the gap widens today in the scrimmage. Let's say, okay, yes, it is definitely him. Do you go ahead and anoint him and give him the confidence of knowing he is the starter, or do you like the idea of we don't want to hand the competition off too quickly? So I think when you see the numbers that come out of today's scrimmage, it'll be interesting to see how the coaches handle it going forward. If Guarantano outperforms him by a fairly wide margin, then do you go ahead and say it's your job, or do you say, nope, still competition, we still got you practice?
Do you wait for another scrimmage? But this is a guy, Pruitt, who said a few months ago that you'll know about the quarterback situation when somebody gets the ball in the fourth quarter against West Virginia. I'm ballparking that, but it was something to that effect.
Right.
But that's one thing. This sounds like something different.
See, I don't think, regardless of what happens today, I don't think he's going to name a
Right.
quarterback. I don't. To Bob's question, and I go back to a little bit of that fourth quarter of the West Virginia game. That's when he'll know. I think he's going to.
String it out.
String it out as long as he can to make sure. I think Chris was signed, 1, for the competition and 2, for insurance.
Yeah.
But I also think that even if there is a wide gap, that he might wait. Now, he may actually make that call a little bit sooner, because my impression was he might wait till game week.
Yeah.
Well, he might not wait that long, but I don't think, regardless of what happens.
And
today,
even though it was a
they'll name
different
anybody.
staff, remember what a fiasco that turned into last year? You know, over the starting quarterback and how Garantano handled it. And I think if someone earns the job, they have the right to be named the starter at some point.
And you also, you go back to the Eric Ainge, Rick Clausen year when, that was 2005. That was Eric Ainge's only bad year at UT. But you had people on the team that felt it should be Clausen. People thought it should be Ainge. Ainge got the nod because Ainge had the better arm. And there's talk about Garantano having the better arm. Arm strength isn't everything.
No.
If you stand back there and you don't get rid of the football, which Garantano had a tendency to do last year, that kind of negates. If you're not getting the ball out on time, the idea is, well, my arm strength can make up for it. Better you not play that game. I don't know that arm strength is the whole deal here, or should be the whole deal here. It's not like Garantano has taken the bull by the horns. He's played better from everyone that I've talked to. He's looked better. But Jeremy Pruitt himself has talked about inconsistency. He's still not where he needs to be. So it's not like he showed up and just put everybody else in the dust. It's more of Chris doesn't seem to have the talent that Garantano has, and talent wins. And I don't know that arm strength. Danny Werfel didn't have a strong arm, but he had a system that could get guys open.
If you listen to the coaches, the kind of offense they're going to run, where it's going to be run-oriented offense, that's going to put more of a bit of pressure on how do you read defenses, because we're going to run, we're going to run, we're going to run. Arm strength isn't going to be the most important thing, because when you do decide to pass, how well do you read defenses? And I just wonder, Chris, when he signed here and everybody anointed him, like you said earlier, the first thing that jumped out with me was, okay, he didn't win the job at Stanford.
Well, he won it and he lost it.
And
That's
he
what
won it and he
happened.
lost it, but
Right.
there was a reason that he lost it.
Right, that's
okay?
right.
And you're not playing, I don't think, as good at defenses as you see in the SEC.
Yep.
Stanford, I think, had a better offense all around him than Tennessee had around Garantano last year. So that made me wonder, okay, is he going to be able to come in and do more with less?
Right. Well, it's going to be interesting to watch. And here's the thing, as Ryan pointed out, let's see how they perform in the scrimmage today, and you're going to have another scrimmage next week. You'll get a much better feel than just going out there and doing the drills, which for the most part nobody can see anyway. It's all everybody's got sources. How do you look?
Unless you get a drone. I think that's the next wave of coverage, the drones.
Exactly. Speaking of drones, we have this isn't speaking of drones. It has nothing to do with drones. So let's just go to the graphic. Speaking of the Sports Source, coming this fall, it will be year 3 of the Sports Source Kickoff presented by Parkside Cabin Rentals. Every Saturday morning from 10:30 to 11 a.m. Start your game day with the local show. September 1st through December 8th, 15 weeks. You can be right here with us. Sports Source Kickoff by Parkside Cabin Rentals. That will be on Fox 43 every Saturday morning. All right. Up next, offensive line. Now that you've got some names with some of the slots, you got an idea of who might be where, and you got Trey Smith coming back. Chance Hall is going to be cleared at some point. Is this offensive line looking better than we might have expected a few months ago? Or no? We'll discuss. Come on back.